Welcome, everybody. This is Heart Chats with the Three Musketeers again.
Yeah.
Rich Havis, Brandon Ellis, and Sheila Jeanberger. And this is our opportunity to chat about, we're putting this in with the Healing Center chat video. So that is kind of our goal here, but it's you never know where we're going to take this.
True.
So I'll start off by saying that not last weekend, but the weekend before, I was at the Sasquatch conference. And I met someone there, Lee Kerr. She's from Australia. And she, as soon as we met, we just connected immediately. And it was only 15 minutes in the conversation that we started talking about healing centers. And she's got a whole gig, including blueprints, and she's at that point of waiting for where is it going to be. I mean, she sounds just like us talking about her center. So I'm going to do a show with her so I can add that to our collection. I also got another contact from someone who passed along a healing center that she is either associated with or her friend runs it or something. So this energy that we're creating is getting things moving, and it's really cool that this, and in fact, someone had watched our video from last time and had commented to me that it was really cool that what we were talking about. So, yay us.
Yay.
I think we're, it's not just us generating this energy that you're talking about, Sheila. I think we're actually tapping in to the general energy. Again, we talked about it last time, and I think we all agree that it's now getting really close to the time for these things to start manifesting. Right, Brandon?
Right.
as you're nodding your head.
I should say something instead of just nodding.
Yes.
That's how I feel at my interviews. I'm just constantly nodding. I feel like one of those little bobber things that you put on the dashboard.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
this time around, are we going to be talking about what we see in our visions for the layout, the blueprint of the place?
Sure.
I was just going to say, that's what I hope that we do with this one, that we really get into what our vision was, what we really see in the centers. I like your word again, the ascension centers, or I got last night, enlightenment centers. Could be either one of those.
Yes.
But how's it really laid out? What's a part of it? What do you really see as a part of what that vision is? How much land is it on? How many buildings? What are the buildings? Who's involved in it? What kind of people are there? What kind of staff might be needed? Any and all of those, more of the details. So as each of us are talking about our own vision of it, we can collaborate ideas. And I think it's, again, going to, as Sheila was just saying, it's going to spur the inspiration of anybody that's watching that goes, oh, cool, that'd be really good to have as a part of my center, wherever it ends up being located.
Yeah.
So,
and the way that I see my vision, my center, I see where people are living in a lot of their, I see people living in their own dwellings, their own homes on a large amount of land, not necessarily living together as in the same home, but living together as in the same community on the same land. I see community. What was that?
Just to clarify that a little bit, how large is the land and how many homes do you perceive? Domiciles.
The land is large. I don't know how many acres at all. It's a huge acreage. and what I've seen in my visions are hills of land. And I've seen three large like community centers on the land. And actually I saw three right next to each other. And one was like a school building. The other was a big library, and the other was like a where everybody can come together, and like it's a community center where people can get together, do things auditorium wise, even have lunch, dinner, breakfast there, whatever. Then I also saw healing centers there. Those are a little bit smaller. And then I saw, it was almost like the way that I see mine, or the one that was in my vision, is it's circular, it's round, and everything's built in a round type of way. I'm not necessarily saying the homes, but even gardens are more circular. How else can I explain that? But there was a lot of little homes there. The home I actually was in one of my dreams was a decent sized home for a community. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting like little, not shacks, but
the tiny home kind of thing.
Well, not the tiny homes. I was thinking of yurts. Way back when I had the vision, I was thinking of yurts. But what I saw in the vision were regular sized kind of homes, and which surprised me. And it was just me and my family, I mean, my children and I and my partner in that home. And there were a lot, I would say 50 plus people just in that area that I was looking at. I'm not making any sense, but there was like 50 some people in the area that I was experiencing in this dream, yet there was a bigger area around it. So I'm thinking maybe there was hundreds of people there at the time. So that's kind of what I saw. That's kind of vague.
Let's see if we can define it a little bit more, even though you're recalling it in a very vague way. So you just said there were three centers, or three community buildings.
Big buildings, yes.
So if you were going to say buildings, would they be like Foster Street, Bob's Foster Street building?
No, bigger. It'd be more like, it was bigger. I even saw a big biosphere, which was huge.
So like the conference center downtown?
It was like a dome. The biosphere was like a dome. That was separate. That was kind of a little bit of ways. But nonetheless, the buildings, and this is what I saw, might not happen, but this is what I saw. It was, the buildings were square in nature, built out of this reddish metallic material. And at first glance, they looked like bricks. But they were just too red for that. And they were one looked to be 3 or 4 stories. The other one looked to be about the same, and another one looked to be about 2 stories. They seemed to be about the size of, they reminded me of if you're standing outside of a school and you're looking at the gym from outside, you're looking at the gym. It just looked like that. It was like kind of a square thing like that. The 2 4-story buildings had stairs, white step stairs going up into the main entrance. And the 2-story building, you just kind of walked in, just an entrance without going up the stairs.
So what were those buildings? The first one was...
One to me seemed like a school. The other one to me was like a community.
Which one?
The middle. There was one in the middle with the 4 stories building that looked like a school. Another one looked like it was, to me, it felt like it was a healing center. And the third one, which also was 4 stories, for some reason it seemed either maybe a dormitory, or it actually felt like it was a center where people could go and listen to speakers, and they can gather for food or things like that. Community center where people get together for dinner, lunch, and all that.
Cool. So on that was in one area of this acreage that you're talking about?
Yeah, it was in one area of the acreage.
And you were saying the last time that, and just now, that was in a circular scenario. So those 3 buildings were like in the middle, and then Around
Yes,
them was
those
what?
are in the middle. Those are in the middle, and then around the acreage, the other houses and homes and whatever else there were, libraries, they were just kind of in a circle. They were built in a circle around that, and it kind of almost like a spiraled in to this area. So yeah, I'm kind of getting mixed up with one of the buildings being a healing center or a library. I know I went to the library in another dream, and it wasn't that big. It wasn't as big as that building. So I'm thinking that one of the 4-story buildings was a healing center of some type. So the library was a 1-story building that I saw.
And what was in the library? What was the
I was
library's
leading
purpose?
children into the library to meet with the librarian. And it was a lot of children, and a lot of children really liked this librarian. I don't know what she was teaching them because I was just leading them there, and I recall sending them there for a purpose and leading them there for a purpose, and that it was an important purpose, yet I don't remember what in the dream she was teaching them.
In that particular one, last time you were talking about, or we were talking in one conversation, that you personally had gone to the librarian for a past life scenario. Is that possible that is what they were being led to?
It didn't seem like the same place. Perhaps that was in the healing center. The library was a different location than where I was taken to look at past life situation scenarios. And when I was in a past life situation scenario, I was staring at this device, almost like a hologram in front of me. And I was sitting in kind of just not a sofa, but those lounge back chairs, really comfortable one. And I was going through my past lives there. And that was a really short dream. However, I was noticing other people in the room also doing the same thing.
Cool. So just to take it a little bit farther, you say that there was several groups of these buildings on what you perceive as the total acreage. So you'd have one center of the 3 buildings with a circular group of homes around it or buildings. And are you indicating that was another and possibly another and another on the land, that there was several of those?
No, what I'm saying is there were 3 buildings, 3 big buildings, and there were other smaller buildings around that building. And as it's much easier if I just drew it out. Here's the 3 buildings in the middle. Around it in a circular way was more buildings. Around that in a circular way, more buildings, and it just kind of went out like that, and it got bigger and bigger. I also, in another dream, because this place is kind of hilly, not too hilly, but just a little bit hilly. In another dream, I was pretty shocked to see that we got around in a certain area of this acreage. We got around by little boats, on a little kind of man-made canal. And the canal, just kind of went around. It didn't go from house to house, but though it did go from some locations to other locations, not at all. And I also saw on this land, you could get out by boat to other areas, and one way to get out was through a kind of a tunnel with flowing like vines coming down into the tunnel. Like you kind of go through that, and you go through a tunnel in the water, and then you come out the other side, and you're in kind of another area of, I don't know if that's part of our acreage or if it was just another. It kind of sounds fantastical. That's what. So
it sounds like Shangri-La. You got to go through the entrance to get to Shangri-La.
Oh yeah, maybe. Anyway,
you're talking about drawing it out. I know you have a little drawing that you carry with you. Why don't you just pull that out and show it to us?
It's not here. I'm in a different location. I'm not in my house. So my wallet, I'm in the cottage of my backyard. My wallet is in my home.
Okay.
Maybe you can grab it. Would you like to go grab it?
I think it would be helpful.
Okay.
Because again, we want to try and give people ideas of what we're envisioning, and the more that we can convey that, I think is helpful for our intention.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Thank you.
Amongst I listened to him, and his center seems to get bigger and bigger than what seems to think it is. It sounds like he's got maybe up to 100 acres.
I was going to say, because to have that many buildings, that's almost like a town.
Yes. And that's one of the things that I got as we evolve and become more conscious. These huge cities that we are living in and have been forced to live in and condensed down into are going to be eliminated. And my perception is we're going to go back to these smaller villages. And with transporters and stargates and things, everybody will be able to get around and still connect with everybody and get to all the different locations they need without having mass transit, without having huge central city areas. There'll be much more of these villages where you would gather around with people that are of like mind, whatever that might mean. And we live within that village and interact in that village, but we can travel wherever we need to. It might be the grocery store, the department store, or, maybe just go on a vacation or go visit family. But I don't perceive we're going to have roads as much anymore. Once we get to some point, and I think as we talk about all of these enlightenment and ascension centers, we'll be at that point. We'll be at that point where we can just travel by jump room, transporter, Stargate, whatever it is, the technology that becomes publicly available. So,
do you want to look at it now?
See, I was going to say, he should be back by now.
You see me? So, okay, here it is. I don't know if you can even see what I drew this back in 2001 or 2000. I forget when. Come back a little bit.
Yeah, right there's good. So what's the writing on top?
It's kind of hard to read because it's all smudged now. It says garden greenhouses. It reminded me of like a Disneyland theme. I don't know why I wrote that.
It was giving me that impression too.
Counselors, I wrote on here. I wrote cabins, yurts, auditoriums, theater. I wrote schools here. I wrote schools. A family center. I even have a fitness center. I have a healing center. I have the Grand Lodge. And I have food markets, even shops and restaurants. I don't remember the restaurants part, but I remember, actually that brings it back. I remember this wasn't a dream, but this was a thought when I was drawing this out, that there would be a shop there where people can come and get bulk items of food, like bulk food, bulk materials. Not bulk, but this community would receive bulk items, and you go to, and the bulk items go to the stores or shops or whatever, and you can go and pick those up and take them home and eat or use for some reason or another. So that's what I have here. I don't have any jump rooms. Sorry.
You talked about the jump rooms.
Yeah, right. I wrote jump rooms into my next novel, but I thought that was my idea, but it's not. It's apparently way out there.
You're picking up on it. They exist already.
Yeah.
Anyhow, from my reading, they've been used by these shadow government for years now.
Yeah, I was just listening to a show on Coast to Coast AM, and well, not just, but I don't know when. I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and they're talking about jump rooms. So obviously, I may have probably heard it there too.
I don't even know what a jump room is.
It's a transporter.
So what they were saying was there are jump rooms like in New York, I think they even said Colorado, where you can go into this room and it's like walking through a door. You'll instantly, they're talking about jump rooms from Earth to, of all places, Mars. And that people were literally walking through a doorway and walking out of the doorway, walking through the doorway while you're on Earth, walking out the other side of the doorway while you're on, now you're on Mars. So.
And they actually exist in some of these skyscrapers down in New York City. That's where some of them go, but they are in other locations.
Okay, if indeed this is true, which we believe it is, then we're not very far from having what.
No, not at all.
I mean, and whatever it's going to take to reveal that, talk about an instant change in the world.
Well, it's being revealed. It's coming out in all these different communications and these whistleblowers that are coming from the secret groups and the military and NASA are all starting to bring out this information. So we're now getting that it exists. What it takes to bring it into the public use is going to be another scenario. But I think my center is based on that technology will be available when the center is being created for the public use. Anything else? Brenda, did you have more?
All that my near-death experience friend was told that there are going to be ascension centers throughout the United States. That's what she was told. And in Montana is going to be a big one. Colorado is going to be a big one. Those are the only two I remember her saying, though she did show me on a map several other locations. I don't remember where she was showing me, though. She did mention that there will be a way to create these because money, they're going to cost millions of dollars and money will be released. I would like that very much. So
we're a day or two away if everything goes as it's talked about. Literally a day or two away, but we've heard that for 2 years now. So
yeah, I've been hearing it for a while too.
But I agree with you that there is going to be the funding available to make all these happen. And it's not going to be a loan and it's not going to be a government grant. It's going to be substantial funds that will be available for any and everybody to build and create these centers. Yeah. Do you think any of these, as you're talking around the United States, do you think any of these are going to be coordinated with the City of Lights that have been talked about, which is the like Seattle area and Sedona area? Are you familiar with them, Brandon?
Yeah,
or
I may be. I don't know. Tell me a little bit more.
Do you remember iAmerica Maps by
Michael?
Thinking about Gordon Michael Scallion?
Yeah.
He was one of them that was doing it. It was Lori Toy.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Well, on those, they had the different cities that were to be located, the Golden Cities of Light.
Yep, those are them. Those are them. She showed me that map. She said some of those locations on there, she was told, are inaccurate, though very close to where it's going to be. Yeah.
So again, you get, and what I was just...
Lori Toy is her name. Is that what you said?
Lori Toy, yes.
Yeah.
She was the one that created the map, and then Michael helped promote it and also edit on.
Yeah.
From what I remember. Were you
there was some definite coastal changes on that map.
Yeah, but I'm not sure we're going to see those. But because we've transmuted a lot of the energies that were going to cause that, is what's been said over the years. That
told
as a population have done our work, is basically.
I was told that it's going to be half that. I was told that about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. Though she, the near-death experiencer, still is predicting it's going to be pretty bad. My guidance is a little bit different, and the guidance coming out through books I'm reading now is things are really transforming. We have done our work, like you're saying, Rich, and that the things like the Light Alliance, Earth Light Alliance, the Galactic Light Alliance are really helping out the situation, as in taking down the cabal, rising the consciousness of humankind, that kind of thing, which really helps take back the blow of changes.
The earth changes. The one thing that's still going to be a factor is that we are going to have the global warming. It's not a man-made thing. It's a cosmic thing that is intended by all the reading I've done. And it certainly makes sense. As you raise up in vibration, you literally heat up. If you think of water to steam to gas, as it gets hotter, it gets higher in vibration. It moves faster. Yeah. And as we move into a higher vibration, our molecules will be moving much faster than what we are now. So the planet heating up is actually a part of the cosmic plan of raising our vibration. It's been talked about that Earth will become a star. So again, a star is going to be vibrating much higher and brighter. I mean, that's going to be the light energy that's coming off. So a part of that is going to still bring about the coastal changes from literally the ice melting around the globe. But what's been indicated is that we will have a more moderate temperature all around the globe, that we won't have the extreme hots and colds that exist right now. So the Arctic and Antarctic will be much more moderate, 50, 60, 70 degree temperatures. And the equator is supposed to be moved down into that same kind of range. So that's all what I've heard and read over the years. And it makes sense to me that this global warming event is not a man-made pollution thing, but that certainly is adding to it. And it's something that needs to be cleaned up. But as that happens, again, what I was saying earlier, I think people will start to gathering in these villages, which is what you're describing, Brendan, in your center, and the Golden Light cities feel like also. They're not these concentrated mass population that exists right now as cities. Will be in these smaller groups, and they could be anywhere, and much more connected to nature around them. There will be a much better balance of living in nature and with nature in all of these villages and enlightenment centers, ascension centers. At least that's what I get. That's what I've heard and read. And it's what I envision myself as what's going to happen. We're, as I was saying to Sheila, I don't think we're going to have as many roads around the planet. People will be transporting through the jump room or transporters or stargates or whatever it is, the technology, and not having to use the vehicle or the roads as we have right now. So the Earth will actually change back to a much more natural environment all around the place. And I think that's cool. So I get that your place is about hundreds of acres.
Yeah, I was thinking it's hundreds of acres. It was hundreds of acres. That's what I'm thinking. It seems pretty grand. I don't know if that's exactly what it's going to be. So I'm working diligently on manifesting. I know it's east. I know it's east because I've been told in dreams that it's east. It's east of where I am right now. And I think it's in Colorado because it seemed like one of the last destinations was in Colorado, and it was near I think I said this last time, it was near hot springs, somewhere in the mountains of Colorado. That's why it's probably hilly. So,
well, you mentioned it last time, and I when I was living there, I mentioned it last time that the Pagosa Springs area that you're talking about did pop up as a high potential for a center like this, that the vibration of that area was already clear enough and clean enough that it could hold the intention of these Ascension Center kind of villages.
Okay.
So I think that's a good focus to be looking at least from my perspective.
Is that east of the Rockies?
It's in the middle of the state towards the southern border. So you know where Vail is?
Yeah, I know where Vail is.
So if you went almost straight down from Vail to the southern border, it's just about there.
Is it, I could just look on a map, but I'm just wondering right now, is it on the left side, or sorry, west side of the mountains or the east side of the Rockies?
The Continental Divide is where, which is just left of Denver. So that's the Continental Divide that runs down the United States. So that's the highest point of the Rockies. But the Rockies extend almost from Denver over through the west side of the state. It's in the middle of that area. So if this is Denver and this is the west side where Montrose, Telluride, Glenwood Springs, Grand Junction is over on that area, Pagosa Springs is down in this area.
Okay.
So it is hilly. It is got a terrain to it. It does have the hot springs. There's actually a hot springs building there at least there was when I left. So it's a good location, and it felt good. It felt good to me going through it and perceiving it as I was exploring it, these options for a center when I was in Colorado.
Okay.
Sheila, I'd like to move on to yours and what you had.
Let's take a quick break and stop recording, and so I can start again.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. I'm pretty sure my 40 minutes start up again right now. Well, interestingly, I did an interview last night. I've got the Sheena and Sheila show, and generally we talk about, we're in the Archangel series, but Sheena has been building her healing center now for this last year. And we just, we had planned to talk about something, and we went straight to the healing center project. I gotta say that there is a part that she is doing that to me is vital in this whole project. She has been guided through the whole thing. There's not one aspect of what she's been building that has not had intervention with the masters, the angels, all the peeps she knows. Okay.
I want to interject one thing here as you continue, and Brandon was indicating it also. I would like to point out that we all may get these visions. So we have this particular dream or idea, but it doesn't mean our own thoughts as we work through it aren't guided as well, which is what you're saying, your friend was just saying. So it's not just the dream and the vision, it's the thoughts that move forward and further define it are also guided information to us. So it doesn't have to be just that vision. It is a day-to-day work in progress kind of thought and ideas that come through from guidance that we will interject into our own building and creating any and all of these.
Her point was that it was built etherically first before the actual physical materials were built. She also said that even if you go into an area that's already built, because we're talking about a town here that could possibly already kind of be built, okay, And it would just be the action of us building our temple in the next dimension, next layer first, or along with, in order to create that magical essence that we're talking about.
Does she have a place that she's going to be building that?
Oh, she already found her land. She already has, the temple is almost built.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the story is incredible. I've been watching her do this. She's a single lady up on the top of on the very crest of I think it's called the Blue Mountains, I think it's called the Blue Mountains over there. And it's set in
Oregon?
She's in Australia.
Oh, okay.
And she is sitting on just like granite. She has hills. She has her gig is incredible. And although we just kind of skimmed through it on our interview yesterday, she is about to have her opening at the end of October, and she is having an international gathering.
Wow.
For her birthday, for the opening of this amazing creation. And we're going to do a show from that event, and we'll be able to meet all these people who have come all over the world to be with her. And she is an extremely unique person, and her relationship with our cosmic team is beyond anybody else I know. And I'm quite honored to work on many projects with her out in the cosmos. And so here again, she has brought in the essence of our cosmic team through the whole thing. She was shown where to buy the land. She's out in an area where it's not. Her healing centers used to be in town where people could get to them. She's been told that there would be a cloaking effect for people who are not intended to be there.
That makes sense. Cloaking.
Oh, I think it said cooking. I'm like, they're going to cook? Okay.
Cloaking. Okay. An invisibility cloak, like Harry Potter.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
And that those who are intended to be there will find it, and the energy will draw them right in. And that is exactly the process that I do with my paintings and my graphics and my photographs. I know that works. I know that it works. And so I'm anxious to start sharing and get a little more detail-y with her on her project.
And you're going to have a show during that time? Are you going to be there in Australia?
I won't get to be there on this one, but...
don't count on that.
Yeah. Well, I haven't got my passport yet, but...
passport. Oh, I forget about that. Yeah.
My trip over there is coming. I will be going there. So, yeah, I'm...
When are you going to do the show with her? Your interview?
It is like... we're going to do that show for her celebration on the 28th, but I'm going to try to get her to talk a little bit more about her healing center. We just did a quick show yesterday, but I would like to add, and I'm going to add it to the healing center page, but there is so much more we could talk to her about that.
When you talk to her, I hope you get, I hope she has a website or something where people can go and do a review of what she's put together, kind of like what I've put together. So in your interview, see if she has some place where people can maybe visit.
Yeah, she does not, and she's get this, she's depending on me to help make her website.
She wants you to help her make her website?
I know a good consulting website designer. If you need some help.
I could just go on and on about that, but I'll just end it right there. Oh my God. Okay. So yes, she does not have a website that is showing all of this. She's been posting pics at Facebook, and I probably will collect those pics as she's been going on. I'm pretty sure that most of the time, I mean, we're talking about a single woman here who is doing the job of at least 4 people, as far as I can see. She does have contractors coming in to do, you know, the building and stuff. But I'm telling you, she and it's only because she has got the entire universe working with her that this miracle is unfolding right before my eyes.
I think that's going to be a major part of any and all of this. You know, the fact that we've all talked about this is a cosmic vision that we're getting. Everybody's getting the same thing. We've been seeded with these things for years now. And as they get ready to be created and manifested, it is going to be, in your words, magical, because the universe will be supporting each and every one that moves forward with these. Again, I think there'll be many that get and have an idea or a vision, but may never take the steps to actually start creating it. And it's really going to be the ones that say, I get it, I see it, I'm going to work with this. That'll get that magical kind of thing. Curious question for Brandon. You've been down to Brighton Bush, haven't you?
Yeah, many times.
So I've never gotten that Brighton Bush is one of these centers. It has a lot of the same intent, but it doesn't seem to have, I don't know, there's something that doesn't seem to match what we're talking about in that particular one. And it's got all the same things we've been describing. It's got, you know, community center and, you know, people coming together to teach one another and help work through their healing issues. But it just doesn't feel like one of these centers. I'm curious if you agree or disagree.
I neither agree or disagree. The feeling I get when I'm there are 2 things. There's 2 portions of Brighton Bush. One side I call the light side. The other side I call not the so light side.
Okay.
There's a river called the Brighton Bush River that goes right in between these 2 areas that I'm talking about. And if you're if you're standing on the Brighton Bush River and you look to your left, that's the guests, where the guests stay. That's where the hot springs are, the big lodge, the greenhouse, the lodges where you do the healings and the centers and the speeches, all that stuff is over there. Beautiful cabins, a lot of nature. And then you go to the staff side, where you go over a bridge over the river, and across that bridge is a staff center where there's homes where people live. And when I'm on that side, I want to get on the other side as fast as I can. That side is full of drama, full of the muck. The last time I was there, I was asked by my guides to lighten that area up. And so I did a meditation. It was bad. Last time I was there, it was very dark. There was something going on that staff side. The other side is always great, where the guests stay. The staff side, I had to do a meditation for quite a long time. I guess in my own way, saging the area and cleaning up the negative energy. And it wasn't an enjoyable time when I went there last time, because it felt like everything energetically, black energy was trying to grab me. And so in that sense, if you're on that side, you're not going to think it's going to be any type of light center or ascension center. You're on the other side. It's like, this is heaven.
I haven't been there, but my
Oh.
perception of it is it doesn't match. But you bring up a good point that I think needs to be addressed as people are considering these ascension centers. Is there going to be a staff there, and what's that going to require? So you're talking about living in a village, and essentially it's probably going to have its own small government.
Yeah.
That
You're going to have counselors there. What they don't have at Brighton Bush that I've experienced is counselors that deal with people's drama, which happens in just about every community,
Right.
and successfully mediating those conflicts. I don't see that there. I see that they remain there, and they even go when you leave. They go with the person. You're not healed in that aspect. And so with the community, you need that, and you need your community to be that mediator, to be that counselor for people visiting, so they can see what a healing deep within your heart is like. And yeah, that's what I've experienced there at Brighton Bush. And when I was there, like I said, I was asked to bring in the light on that side. So,
and again, this is going to be a point that any of us are going to have to take into consideration, is how's the staffing going to be, and how are we going to keep it to that level of deep healing that you're describing?
that's something that I've thought about a lot, and it's also something that kind of pushes me away, because for me, it feels a little bit stressful keeping that kind of staff around, hoping that they stay around.
Okay, so you just brought up one question. Are you going to be part of your center?
Am I going to be living there?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the plan. I don't know if the deal is I go there, create it, or help somebody create it, and then I'm led somewhere else. I feel that I would be staying there.
Okay, and you were continuing to say that that would be
So like-minded individuals will hopefully come to our centers. And so one of the things we need to do as the creators of these centers, manifestors, is to keep that vibration high, so we attract those kind of individuals. And I mean, everybody kind of knows that's kind of basic spirituality 101. Nonetheless, it's pretty important. And bringing in a staff is necessary. And I'm hoping that the staff that you bring in, and that I bring in, and we all bring in, are people who are helping create this community, so they feel invested in it. And so they want to bring their hearts and wisdom with them and on that land. So, yeah. And what
I'm waiting to talk about mine, because I've talked about mine so many times before. I want to get you two to talk. So, Sheila,
what were you saying?
Your center and the gal you were talking with is where you were. So
right. It's kind of interesting. Right across the river from here is one of those mega churches with the houses all around it. Okay. And it has been popular opinion that they don't like those. That it's kind of a greedy program they've got, kind of all-inclusive. There's reputation that isn't good with that. So here we are talking about coming in and creating a town with our own little government, and all of our houses and our centers, and creating this utopia, this beautiful community that works together and is working towards healing and all. I've also had a community home that I ran where at one point there was 13 people that lived under one roof. I'm well experienced in community living. I had my at my community, I had this magic staircase that, like, if something wasn't going smoothly and I was about to have some strong opinions, I would walk up the stairs or walk down the stairs, and magically, by the time I got to the top or bottom, I could speak in a peaceful and normal voice, unlike the voice that was speaking up or down those stairs. Okay.
Yeah.
I had 2 rules in my house: no alcohol, and you have to find a peaceful solution. Those were the only 2 rules of the house. The one person that broke it got voted off the island.
Yeah.
It happens, even with the most tender intentions. You know, shit happens, and how you deal with that is vital. On one of the worlds that I live on, I am a part of that. You know, we're like a group of elders that are like counselors, because in these pods, these villages, okay, because there's consciousness there, every decision that is made with the weave, that their actions or their thoughts would weave into the whole. And sometimes it's a difficult decision because you just are not sure about the weave. That's when they come up to the counselors, and we can discuss which would be most efficient for the weave. And that's how the choices are made. Everyone is conscious there. They want the weave to work. They want the pod to flow. So you can imagine, after experiencing that or remembering that or knowing that this is my position, you can imagine my expectations in my community. And I must say that after 6 years of working in that community situation, when I speak to anyone who lived there, even though shit happened, everyone has got amazing, beautiful stories. That is not to say that any of them want to live in a community ever again.
That's why I think we should live in our own houses on the community, because I've lived in 2 communities, 2 separate communities where I've lived in the homes. Lived in one community where there's 16 people and one that there was about 22, and both communities collapsed. Or one community kept going, the one that I lived in with what's your name, Rich? Rich. There's 8 of us. I think there was 8 of us or 7 of us in that house, and it was constant drama, at least what I was experiencing. And
8 of us, but 13 regulating us. Yeah.
And an outside force that was telling us what to do, even though they didn't live there. So it was, that's why I've learned, if you can live in the community, though in your own dwelling, it's a lot easier to live with. And
that's what I took away from it too.
You look at Brighton Bush, and even though they have a lot of drama over there, Brighton Bush has been going on since the 70s, and I mean, it's flourishing. It does really well, and people have been living there for 15 plus years, and they love it. And even though the darkness and stuff like that, they all live in their own dwellings over there. Sometimes they do shack up with 1 or 2 people in their homes. The houses are actual houses, 2 stories sometimes. And they're not all like 8, 10, 12 people in one house. It just is so the chaos is just a little too much with that. I don't know, unless you have, 10 kids. I mean, if you have 10 kids, you know what the chaos is like. And imagine adults with, 30 years, 50 years of crap that they've accumulated over the years and throwing it all on everybody. And that's why, one, you need the counselors, and two, I think you need your own homes.
I agree with you. I think it's extremely important that as a group comes together in a community, that they have their own domicile, their own place, that they can create their own energy in, create their own ambiance in, and not have other people dictating what that's going to be. But the concept of coming together as a group in a like-minded scenario is the key behind any and all of these ascension centers that we're talking about. It is going to be a village. One of the things that I got as a part of the creation of these, and in particular mine, is that it was going to be a center that was focused on helping the global populace really get to a galactic society. And the galactic society, as I understand it, is similar to what you may have seen in, I think it was Star Wars movies, where they had the big council meeting of everybody in the front there, or in the center, and one person would be talking. There was the president or somebody. But it's more what Sheila was talking about, is there will be the elders that will be like the grandfathers and the grandmothers of the Native American and indigenous tribes that would guide the villages with their wisdom. But everybody else was, helping to bring together the concept of working together and interacting and doing it for the benefit of everybody there and everybody out there. So I get that that's going to be those two things that we're talking about are going to be an important part of any of these centers. One, that whoever stays there or lives there on an ongoing basis is part of a community, that they have their own dwelling, but there also be the elders as a part of these, because that is more the galactic focus of a village. It isn't the government as we see it. It isn't even a state government. It's barely a community government as we know it. But these small homes that everybody has been trying to do as a healing center were practice for trying to get to that. And I think each of us have just said that what we've all learned is you can't do it crammed into one space and having other people dictate to you what's going to happen in that one space, where you're overlapping your ideas, your intents, your energies, your focus. You have to have your own space and place, and then come together in a community building or activities other than. And in reality, as I grew up, that's what we called the neighborhood.
The hood.
It's just our neighbors. We got together with our neighbors and interacted with them and did holidays with them. No different. But we're taking it to another level. And the other thing that I think it was Sheila was saying is that the concept of whoever is drawn to these centers will already have a consciousness that matches the intent of them. And those that cannot match the intent will not be drawn, nor will they even be aware of them. And I think that is also going to be a major factor that we all have to do. But at the same time, in saying that, to me, it also feels like with all the different people creating these centers, there will be steps. So you have the most unconscious individuals, and some conscious individuals, and more conscious individuals, and extremely conscious individuals, and there'll be centers for each one of those groups. So they can actually grow through them and in them, and maybe move into another scenario.
And I have to let you guys know I have 2 minutes, and then I have to run.
All right. Well, Brandon, thank you, because I know we're all kind of busy right now. I think all three of us are probably living on the 11th hour right now.
Oh, yeah, that's why I have to run.
Rich made it to like the 13th hour here last week.
Well, can I tell you something really quick that I manifested?
Yes.
Sure.
This year, about 3 months ago, I heard of something called the Bestseller Summit. And that's where only 100 people are invited. And I was one of the ones invited. And it was put on by this guy that I've been following for like 4 or 5 years. And what he has done is he has taken independent writers like me and turned them into New York Times bestsellers. And I was invited this year. Of course, I'm not really working like I did with sports massage, so money is very lean on me, and I had no way of getting over there. Somehow I made them. I said, I'm gonna go. Somehow I'm gonna create this. So somehow my dad gets the email from this Tim guy. Somehow it goes to him, and he's like, oh, look at this, Brandon. I knew about it for a while. This is like 3 weeks ago. I had known about this for like 3 months, but he just got this email like 3 weeks ago. And he goes, how about I pay for you to not go, but if you can find a way to get there, I will pay for your class, that 3-day seminar. I'm like, oh, gosh, yeah. So I put a feeler out there on Facebook. I immediately get a place to stay for free in Nashville, Tennessee, of all places. That's where I'm going. And my massage mentor, the guy who taught me everything I know about massage, or just about everything I know about, he says, oh, I have 50,000 free miles if you need some. So he's got me the 3 miles. Then my dad goes, oh, I got this Lyft, like Uber and Lyft. I got this Lyft thing. I'll put it on my credit card. So if you need to go to and fro in Nashville, I'll actually pay for it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway, universe came together on my behalf, and I'm so grateful, and I'm able to go to this really cool thing on no money.
That is awesome. That is exactly the magic that got me to the Sasquatch conference.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone if it hadn't been for Kelly and Frosty. They are the ones that said, I'll pay you. You be my guest. You don't even have to pay the cost to be at the conference. And Frosty's like, if you'll go, I'll get a hotel, I'll drive, and I'll get a ticket for myself. There we are.
Anybody with a name like Frosty is a cool guy.
That's a good girl. That's Frosty the girl.
Frosty the girl.
Yeah. All right, you guys, thanks. This feels good. I love doing it, and we'll just.
So, Sheila, is there a possibility? Can we continue? I'd still like to cover what you are doing for your center, even if Brandon has to take off. Do we still have time?
Yeah, yeah, we do. We have.
How do you click me off of over here?
You just click yourself off.
Okay. Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Brandon.
You.
You're welcome. Thank you.
See you later.
Yeah, so I've learned a lot from hanging out with Sheena. She has reminded me over and over again in different situations. Did you call upon the archangels? Did you ask for some assistance? And I'm like, well, shit, no, I didn't even think about doing that. What the hell's wrong with me?
Up to a higher consciousness.
Right? Jeez, I'm so good at some things and I suck at others. And of course, once I do, now I'm back into my magical world. It's all like, it's all good again. Okay. Watching her communicate and be guided through this process has been absolutely amazing to watch. And I already understand amazement. It always amazes me that I can be amazed even more because I understand what's going on, and it's still amazing. And she is, this is just another another kind of center. Just because we're seeing these villages and towns does not mean that there's not a need for other centers. And I'm just so anxious to interview with Lee Kerr, who I met and who is also in Australia. It's amazing the contacts that I've got in Australia now, and how each one of them, of course, because of the show that I'm collecting all these wonderful, magical people into my world, that there is great healing going on in Australia. And to see from Sheena's side, where she's already doing it. It's all coming together for her, even through the winter. And then Lee, who in the brief time that we got to talk, she was at the part where it was about where we're going to put it and where we're going to get the funds. And she is an incredible manifester, and she also is very in touch with guidance. And they had told her, keep your plans, hang on, it's just not time yet, but don't give up. Okay, in the brief time that we got to talk, I saw that as a message.
For you?
Sure, absolutely.
Don't give up?
Just don't give up. Be calm. It's just not time yet.
But it's close. It's real close. So what's on your center? What's it made up of?
To tell you the truth, I was working on my plans probably 10, 12 years ago. A lot of things have changed.
That's okay.
A lot of things have changed because...
Where did it start and where's it gone to?
Well, okay, so one of the things that Lee and I had in common was, and all of us, I'm sure, is whenever you walk into the place, there's something magnificent, okay? And with Lee's, she's got a crystal the size of a truck in the middle of her lobby or entrance area. My area had water. It had this water feature because up at the, oh, okay. It'll come back. Okay, can you hear me now?
Well, Sheila, you have disappeared at the moment. You were...
Okay, am I back? Sometimes this corrects itself. There we go.
There she is. Okay.
Yeah. So in this entrance, what I remember is that the effects of the water and whatever it was that was in this center now, which would be crystals, would be something with energy. But I remember that there was a reflection up on the ceiling. That how water will there was something magical about the ceiling, sort of about how water reflects. And of course there was the huge dining. There's a huge long table. I'm familiar with the long table in my association with the masters. I often find myself at the long table with them. There was a time that this was to show me that they were absolutely aware of me in every moment. I was actually driving in the car, and all of a sudden I went to where this table was, and I saw a hologram or holograph in the center of this table, and they were watching me in the car. Okay, so I saw them watching me in the car. So I knew that even in this moment of being in the car, that I was still in communication at the big table. Okay, that moment right there was a huge awakening and a knowing moment for me, because it clearly reminded me, made me aware, gave me knowingness that I am in constant communication with those at the big table. And in my place, that is exactly where I would expect Saint Germain to sit.
So are you saying in the center that you've envisioned that potentially one of those buildings that any and all of us have talked about would be dedicated to connecting with the masters and the ascended masters, and that could be done on an ongoing, regular basis?
Yes.
For not just you, but anybody that was coming to or a part of the center that you would want to create.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
and because I'm aware of my position as a counselor for the villages, I know that I'm quite capable of being in a position to, I've been saying ambassador, but whatever you want to call it, I know that I am capable of being in a position to bring together the masters and those who are ready to be part of that. I mean, this is.
So I ask you the same question I asked Brendan. Are you going to be a major part of your center?
I was, yes. It's like everything else I do. I'm kind of the overseer of it. It's kind of funny. In every single healing center project that I've been, I'm not like the Reiki person or the healer person here or the healer person there. I kind of run the show. And
good for you. We need you. We need the people who are going to run the show.
Well, and I'm always over here going, geez, I don't have my gig. I don't have a Reiki thing, and I don't have a this and that. All I can do is just run the show.
That's going to be important. And it's, what I've kind of realized from my own vision of it is I'm going to be the creator of it, but I don't want to run it. That's not what I do. It's not what I enjoy doing. I'm good at orchestrating those kind of things. Have been since an early kid. In high school, I was orchestrating things. But I chose not to because it's not what I find exciting or where I want to put my time and energy. But in thinking about who is going to be a part of a staff of a center, there's going to be an overseer. Someone that is going to be kind of orchestrating the whole thing. And I don't envision that being me. So it's good to know that, someone like yourself sees yourself as a overseer. And that doesn't mean you're God and goddess and a ruler, but as you were talking about, you're in connection with higher awareness and beings that are helped as a guiding factor, not a ruling factor. At least that's my impression of what you're saying. And I think, again, that's going to be true of a lot of these centers and ascension centers as people are creating them. But the staff is one of the things that I think people need to really think about. It's not just the healer that's coming in. It's not just the Reiki person, the massage person. It's who's going to be scheduling appointments, who's going to make the contacts, how are people getting there, where are they going to stay, how long are they going to stay? Are they going to be an ongoing resident? Well, is the center going to have 100 people for 1,000 years, or are they going to come and go? You know, you have to have some kind of stabilizing factor to it that, you know, you just said, having an overseer that is going to be able to help orchestrate it as there is the comings and goings of all the different people, both the people that are coming to become more aware, to do their healing, both in their personal healing and personal work of it, but also as the healers. I think that's a really important part for people to be considering as they envision these things, and what's going to be, how they're going to function once they get created. But I'd still like to hear more of what was in your center that you've envisioned.
Well, there was the usual rooms for the different healing techniques. At the time that I wrote this up, the most amazing thing I had was one of those beds that's got the lights on the bed and then the lights above, and the whole light thing would be is the healing tool there. I mean, I think we're way past that technology now.
Oh, we've been using that for decades now.
Right, and okay, and if we've been using that already for decades, how come not everybody's using it? How come it's not the bed that everybody's trying to buy? Why isn't it not in every corner of our world right now? So, you know. Interesting
point, because there was a lot of tools that were out and about and available in the 80s and early 90s. That was one of them, the Vogel crystal light beds. And then there was lights below and lights above. They would line up with the chakras. They were all different colors, and they would be shined through specifically geometrically created crystals, ground, not made man crystals, but they would be ground to a point and a particular dimension to it that would help actually vibrationally hit those. And there was a lot of other tools that came out and were being talked about and promoted in the early 90s especially. But you're right, you don't hear of them at this point. No. Tuning forks and sound healing, and there's just a ton of other technologies that we're already using that seem to have drifted into the ethers for the time being. But I think all of them are going to be a part of the centers. You know, you mentioned several times in conversations that we've had that you were getting very detailed about the kitchen for the center. And I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Right. Okay. So at the time, let's see, one of the things that I was doing at the time that I was writing this up was I was house and pet setting. And I got to be in a home that had, like, at that time, the latest and most gourmet kitchen you could have. Okay, and I was cooking meals, and it was a delight.
Sheila says we got 1 minute left, less than 1 minute. So let it run out and let's start again.
Okay, I'm going to turn it off.